experience later on, you'll have that. So in the refined meeting, we were talking about equipping you to be unshakable agents. Really, it's an uncertain market out there right now, and we want to make sure you have everything that you need to be unshakable. And I like to quote Stephen Covey on this too, because he talks about you not being a product of your circumstances, but being a product of your decisions, right? And if any of you saw the stat we've talked about in the past, right now 50% of the business is being done by 10% of the agents, and that's because of the decisions those agents are making, right? Many of you are in that group, right? Making those decisions, and that's why you're capturing all of that business, even with the market uncertainty. So don't need to belabor that, but the point being is because there's an uncertainty, it can be a little stressful for us and for our clients as well, right? A little emotional for them. Sometimes we have to also play counselor through that role in order to help them through the process. So we thought it would be kind of interesting to start out with this little tool here. Oh, actually. They said they could. I asked them earlier. All right. So in fact, NAR says about 80% of your clients out there talk about how stressful the process is. Christy, could you grab on the printer? You'll see a wheel.
Yep.
If you go grab that for me, because we may need that, because that may be a little bit small on the screen.
Fine,
Oh, all right.
All suited up.
Run back through. You guys all fit? So to help us with that, it's when we think of our clients, we want to empathize with them. And the reason being is the better we understand our clients, the better we can serve our clients. So they probably have a lot of feelings going on right now. And so how many of you have seen a feelings wheel like this before? Steve's seen it. Okay. So Dana raised her hand too. Dana raised her hand too, Steve. So I've seen it before. Great to see it. So, okay, the thought being is sometimes when the market's challenging, we can get wrapped up in kind of what we're thinking, what we're feeling about the market too. But in order to better serve our clients, we really need to be, understanding what we're seeing from them and maybe dive a few layers deeper to really understand what's going on. So this is an exercise that not that you would do with your client, but you can go through in your head to think about it. And maybe if you're seeing certain behaviors from them, might help you understand a little bit more so you can better serve them and empathize what they're going through. So
Let's start with an agent.
yeah, who wants to play Wheel of Feelings?
Sure.
Will does.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
All right. So here's how, just in your mind, here's how you would be going about it when thinking about maybe you're seeing different reactions or feelings from your clients. So Will, how are you feeling about the market right now? Are you feeling bad, fearful, angry, disgusted, sad, happy, or surprised?
Let's go surprise.
Surprised. Okay, so surprised, is it more of a startled, confused, amazed, or excited surprise? Confused. Okay, then we go out to the next wheel. And so are you feeling disillusioned or perplexed?
Perplexed.
Perplexed. Okay.
I think we're all see that,
Right. Would others agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's the idea. It's really simple. It's kind of, and again, not something that's customer facing, but if you're dealing with some challenges with a customer, might be something to keep in mind just so that we can have that empathy, because we know how important that is to serve our clients, also for their experience. The more they feel like we're empathizing with them, the better experience they're going to have, the better chance of more referrals you will have too, because they'll enjoy that experience that much more.
So if Will is perplexed, right? Do you think that shows up in his interactions with the consumer?
That's a good point too.
Sure.
Do it to yourself too.
So how you kind of perceive things, right, is going to project onto that consumer that you're working with. So let's go through the exercise real quick with the consumer. How do you think the consumer is feeling? Who wants to volunteer? Lindsay.
Okay, I would say fearful.
Fearful. All right, so if the client is fearful, are they scared, anxious, insecure, weak, rejected, or threatened?
Anxious.
Okay, they're anxious. And so if they're anxious, are they overwhelmed or worried?
Overwhelmed.
Or worried? Overwhelmed? Okay. All right, so if Will is perplexed and the consumer is overwhelmed, what does that combination equal? Chaos, right? Not good. Right, so we really need to think about how we are feeling in that feeling wheel and how the consumer is feeling. And then we need to shift our focus back to how the consumer is feeling and go to the opposite side of the spectrum to make them feel like you're confident in the market, right? That you're not perplexed, because as soon as you project that perplexed or disillusioned feeling or that confusion, then they feel confused, and then their anxious feelings get worse, and then they're overwhelmed even more, right? So that's what this exercise is doing. It's trying to teach us to shift our focus into a place that is more positive so that we can better represent, like Dave said, the client through the transaction. Does that make sense? So I think it's a good exercise to go through every once in a while, just to see where you're at on that feelings wheel, to, just look through the process through the consumer's eyes so that you can better serve them.
I think that's a great point, because like Will and KG and myself, we talk daily about, okay, I'm listing this or you're listing this. What do you think? Where do you think we should be? And we go, well, yesterday this one sold here, this one sold here, and we get all like this. You're all throw up your arms and go, well, what do we do? But then yesterday I had to do it. You go to a listing appointment after we had that talk, and you just got to sit in your car and go, okay, I got to get laser focused right now because I've got to get that out of my head. Because, the consumer, the client will see that if they can see it on your face.
Sure.
So
That's a great point.
it goes on every day, because I'm sure every office is talking about what's going on amongst themselves. So
I think that's brilliant, Steve. So if I came into your house and I said, you weren't a realtor, and you asked me, what should I list the home at? And I responded, I don't know.
that's exactly what happened to me.
Is that gonna work? Would you hire me? If I said, I
Oh,
don't know.
no, I didn't say that. I thought. Well, you want to say that. No, that did happen. And that's where you have to just come back with confidence.
Exactly.
Say, this is what I've done. This is the research I've done. This is how I feel. This is how the market, you have to have it ready. But no, you do. I mean, I'm not going to lie. In your stomach, and you're feeling, I don't know.
Yeah. In your stomach, but that's why we're gonna talk about that predictive pricing process later in the meeting, and we're gonna keep talking through some talking points and some scripts that you guys can use, and some research that you can do in order to equip yourself to not feel perplexed in that situation.
So we will send this out, but also on those sheets and on their data,
Oh,
the
yeah,
QR code.
sorry.
You guys can
Oh.
scan that QR code, and then you'll have this wheel of feelings too, so.
Okay.
I'm leaving it up there for all the scanning that's going on.
Everybody scan that.
No, I got it. Okay. You'll see a theme, because there's some options to scan some things, and we will incentivize you too to do that. All right, so let's move forward and talk a little bit about what's going on in the market right now. Okay, so what we're seeing and what we're projecting for the year. So right now, the single family home sales, you've heard me mention it before, Rach mentioned it before. It's about 14.5%, 15% down from last year. So what does that look like if we project that throughout the year? That's going to be about, instead of 25,000 transaction size in our market, there's going to be about 21,000 Now it's about 4,000 less. So if you think about that, if you do nothing else different with your business, and you just kind of ride what you did last year, do the same things, and you stay on par with what the market's doing right now. If you did 25 deals last year, you're probably only looking at about 21 deals this year. And so again, it's about those decisions that we make. And so what is it we're going to do different so that we don't slip? Because I can tell from all your faces, you guys don't like the idea of slipping in the amount of deals or to see your business shrink, right? So that's what happens if you do nothing different. Now, if you want to just stay the same, do those 25 deals again instead of slipping to 21, you'll have to increase your market share by 20%. You got to go out there and grab more market share. And that's part of what we started talking about in our refined meeting is how do we grab 20% market share? How do we grab our unfair amount of market share? Because we know it's being done and we talked about those numbers already. And many of you are doing it already. So the things we talked about in the refined meeting, and we just want to close the loop on some of these, of some of the things that are available to you that we're instituting right now to help you in this current market. So from the refined meeting, we talked about inventory and connecting the dots within the brokerage. So Christy's going to cover that in just a second. We're going to talk about the sellers and buyers, the predictive pricing process, and the competitive advantage program. We did a broker mastermind on that last Friday. That recording's available. But we're going to give you on the screen here in a couple of minutes a QR code where you can download the instructional sheet on that. And we'll just briefly cover that. But if you want to dive deep, you want to check that out. I will introduce Matt in a second, but when the market changes and shifts, we should always be paying attention to our finances, right? But again, a nice time for a refresher on that. And so we're bringing Matt in. I'll introduce him in a second and all of his expertise. And he'll is going to be providing some opportunities for us to do that together. And then the final thing that we started talking about, you can't see it at the moment because I got everybody on Zoom and I can't find the mouse. There it is. Let's me move this around. All right, we started talking about the 4 pillars of your business in the refined meeting. And actually we'll talk about some broker opportunities for that as well to incentivize you because we know how important those tools are. So sound good? We're going to close all the loops on those things that we introduced to you. Christy, you are up first to talk about how we're going to work through connecting some dots within the office. Because obviously, the more we keep in-house, the more office double as we get. It's best to work with your fellow agents here that you know as a professional, going to get the deal done, going to work hard for you, easy to communicate with. And if you have a problem, you just walk down the hall and you knock on their door and say, what is going on? Let's get this deal closed. So, Christy, how are we going to connect the dots?
So in each of the offices, we are going to be putting out boards similar to this. As you see, there's no streets
They can
attached
see
to
it on the
that.
screen.
So what we are asking is if you guys have upcoming listings, we want to connect the dots. We want to try to get those deals put together for your buyers to help you guys connect buyers and sellers. There are people that do not want to sell right now. They don't want 100 people going through their house. It's stressful. They don't want 40 offers. They want to sell off market. So what we've decided, Rachel had a great idea, is let's put some maps and connect the dots. So at each office, these will be in the offices on Mondays. We will share amongst the office admin the pins. So what we ask is if you have something, a listing that you have, obviously we can't put addresses. So what we ask is you put your name and phone number on a tag. We have map pins on there that you put it in the general area with your name and phone number, and then we can connect that. So obviously you want to come in the office, you want to be looking at that map, trying to connect. I've got buyers. We're also using the Inside Scoop to do some of that too, but this is a visual for you guys. So we want to just try to help you guys connect those. If it's somewhere outside of the area that's not in the map, you can put it over to the side and just put the general area for that. So it's for you guys. There's directions on it, but we want to help you guys connect the dots. So those will be coming. They're actually at each office. We just have to get them out. So let us know if you have any questions or concerns, but Rachel thought that would be a great idea, is trying to connect you guys. We used to do some of that stuff at the office meetings, but just a visual sometimes works better, so.
We only have it on the
I have a
screen.
question. So
Yes.
is this just going to be for essentially off-market listings or even like upcoming listings?
Incoming listings
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anything that you
Okay.
have.
or off-market people who do not want to actually list because they don't want a bunch of people coming through, like Christy said. And so the idea is, I mean, we've tried different lists and stuff, but this is a good way for you to walk,
Right.
you know, through the break room and see, hey, you know, Kyle's got something coming up here, or he's got somebody who doesn't really wanna put the house on the market. And so we know that off-market listings are illegal according to the MLS, which isn't illegal really, but it's a violation. So that's why we're not doing, like, their guidelines are no addresses, right? And so if you have something that's up and coming, we're still following that protocol for the MLS. We're not breaking those rules, but we're connecting the dots for people, for consumers' best interest, right? Which is what we're supposed to be doing.
But Rachel, on that thing, instead of putting a address, can you say a 4-bedroom bath, Jensen home?
Yeah, so the MLS says you can't put it out on social media or you can't advertise it online.
Right.
In-house, we can say a 4-bedroom, 2-bedroom, or 2-bath house in Jenison, and that's totally fine.
200,000 or whatever.
Yep, yep. And then just the agents at information. So,
So this board is sparking me to go to Kyle and say, hey Kyle, I've seen your post on the board, tell
exactly,
me more.
exactly.
I have a buyer that's.
I have a buyer that's looking in that area. And Kyle may have a seller that says, I have 8 kids and 13 dogs, and I don't.
Sounds like a dream house for your buyer. Oh, and then we'll be connecting the offices too, so like we'll be pulling from the other offices, so that it's an updated board, so you're leveraging all of the great agents across the company.
So we're close to 120 agents, so whenever I meet with people, I always say, make sure that you use the power of that. Right now, it's 120 agents, that if each person had one listing, that's 120 listings that we would have in the office. So use that when you're talking to when you're listing presentations, things like that. I work with 119, we've got buyers. So.
Perfect. Thank you, Christy, for putting those together.
Good idea.
Yes, you worked hard on that. I saw it. So, nice job.
Well done.
No.
All right, so and it's only as successful as the participation that we have. So
Yes.
that's
Hold
my-
on. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Right.
Thank you.
Woo,
You
the
and
slow
he-
clap.
you and he.
Started it.
26 years.
Okay. Thank you, Christy. That is great. We look forward to seeing what comes of that. Let's put some deals together. All right, competitive advantage program. Check out the mastermind from last Friday if you want some details on this. But what you can do, I got to move this if you guys want to scan the QR code. So this is the instructional sheet, complete with like links to different resources, as well as taking you through the process. So you can do it this way. Just hold it up on your phone. Now, here's the key with this and the predictive pricing process. Our number one goal is to gain market share, right? The single way to gain more market share is more appointments. And we get more appointments by converting more leads. Really, we have no lead at all if we're not converting that lead, right? So the key with this is to help with lead generation and provide a better offer to that lead of why should they meet with you versus somebody else. You may never go through this sheet with them at all. It's just a matter of really getting that appointment. So here's how it goes. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I'm sure you've heard it's very competitive out there in the market. That's why we have a competitive advantage program that I would love to show you. if you have time to meet tomorrow or Monday, whatever works best for you, I'd love to show you how our competitive advantage program could give you a competitive edge. It's just something that differentiates you from the next person who's talking to that buyer. And why is it so important to get that meeting? 80% of people are going with the first agent they meet with. In fact, about 75% only meet with one agent. The next 12% only meet with two. So your batting average will be pretty high if you can just get that appointment. And that's the goal with this sheet here, that script. Hey, I know it's competitive out there. That's why we have a competitive advantage program to give you the edge in the market. If you be available to meet tomorrow or Tuesday or whatever it is, give them a couple options. So it's an alternative close, pick one or the other, right? And get that meeting. That's the ultimate goal for this program. If you want the details, check out the mastermind. So same thing for the predictive pricing process. So you can go ahead and scan this one too, get those downloads. Not there is, if you want to advertise social media, try to gain more leads that way, talk them through what the process is. There's a custom sort of script or idea for the sellers. How do we get that appointment? So we know our batting average will be really high if we get that appointment. So Mr. and Mrs. Sellers, I'm sure you've heard that values are changing quickly or drastically, whatever word you want to use. Sometimes it's difficult to keep up with that. That's why we have created a predictive pricing process where we use a proprietary predictive pricing process. It can be whatever process you're currently using, but to help to make sure that you don't leave any money on the table, right? So would you be available to meet tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow morning, which works best for you? And it's that appointment. And it's, again, just differentiate yourself. Makes sense? Sound good? Think it's something you could leverage or use?
Yes.
Okay, back to the buyer's one real quick. Right now, what's happening with interest rates? Right. And the public knows that, right? Your buyers know that, right? So a great differentiator right now, there are several companies out there offering some good long-term ARM products. For example, Fifth Third is offering a 15-year ARM. How long is the average person in their house? 7 to 10 years, right? 3.75. So that was last week Friday. Maybe it's gone up a tick or not. But if you have somebody who's been looking at the interest rates and go, oh, I'm getting priced out of the market, this ARM product, and there's several other companies doing 10 or 12-year products, which again, might be good options for them. And again, that can be a conversation and be like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I'm sure you've heard, or whoever the lead is, I'm sure you've heard that interest rates are climbing really high. We have a great product that I'd love to talk to you about that could help reduce your rate by a point or so. Do you have time tomorrow to meet? That's the key thing, time to meet to discuss it, right?
And just a little,
What time can we be?
Well, do you have time tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon, which works better for you? You know, get them to say yes to one or the other.
and then just a little note in mapsec.me on the resource tab, we also have 2 banks that give us their rates every Monday. Mike Bartels is one, and I upload those every Monday so you can see what's currently and then the products that they're offering. So take advantage of that too, for just another resource to keep you informed on what products they have.
Thanks, Chris. That's great. And just as an example, so I wanted to show this. So Lindsay put this together and laminated it, has it in the office. But when she's working through her prospect and or meeting with people, it's just a really quick sheet that talks about, okay, we have a predictive pricing process, a competitive offer advantage, and then you'll experience exceptional service. So what makes her working with Lindsay different, right? And so it might be something worthwhile for you to put together too, really quick, whether you show this to the customer or it's just a reminder for you. You may get the question, why should I work with you versus somebody else, right? So great example Lindsay. Really nice, clean, easy, and easy for a client to understand if you were to give this to them, right?
Kinda bouncing off that too. I laminated that because I use it at open houses. People, when they stop and look and they read things. I did have someone ask me about it at the open house this weekend. And I picked up cash buyer on that. So it works. Use it. Take advantage of it.
Have a better offer than the other agent out there. And that's a great point, Lindsay, because second from the bottom link, or no, the bottom link on here is, so 4-step predictive pricing process, customer facing PDF. Print that, take that to your open houses with you, lay it on the table like Lindsay had mentioned, and it's just really quick and easy. Maybe it'll start a conversation. It did for Lindsay, and that's great. Congrats.
I think too, for this predictive pricing process, I think you need to think about the predictive part of the title. Most agents are pricing based on today. And if you start talking to the consumer about pricing based on where the market is headed, then you're going to show them that you are the expert. Because that's entirely different than what people are talking about. So we always go in and we say, here's our CMA for the sold properties that sold last month. But what does that mean for a seller who knows the market is inching up month after month? And so I want you to just pay attention to that predictive key in that title and say, I'm the expert because I'm looking at the, 8% increase month over month or whatever that is in that area. Which Dave puts out those numbers every single week. So.
Again, we know you may get into the meeting and never go through any of this. So don't feel like you have to master this. You guys all kind of do your own process already. Okay, perfect. So with that, I want to introduce Matt. So and give him just a minute to talk. So Matt's from Discover Financial. You want to wherever you want to come, Matt. If you want to come up here, that's great.
If I'm right here.
Yeah, they can see you. Yep, from down at that end. So Matt has 14 years of experience in financial planning, specializing in wealth accumulation strategies, retirement plans, life insurance, estate planning. You're a graduate of Cornerstone.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So, and then you have more designations and anything that I could list off. I do all right. So you are already very educated and well versed in your craft. And so we're excited to have you here. So I live here in Grand Rapids, wife Holly, 3 kids. So
Yeah.
you know what a lot of these people are going through too. So, so Matt, we're happy to have you here. Get you introduced and talk maybe just tell us a little bit about what's going on with you.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys having me in here and trusting Kayla to have me come and talk to all of you. Like Dave said, I've been in Grand Rapids for most of my life. Grew up in Cedar Springs, met my wife in high school. And you've got to speak, Christy. We're at 23 years. So 3 kids aged 18 to 23. So we finally got one through college. On to the next 2. So, but like Dave mentioned, I've been doing this for about 14 years. My prior life, my wife and I started a bunch of coffee shops, built those and sold those. And even though I have a bunch of credentials, I actually went to school for biochemistry. It's a funny path, but then I went into business, and so I worked for pharmaceutical companies, and then we started businesses, and then having run those, it made sense to do family finance and help people with their wealth. And because I was in the business world, that became my playground, I guess you would say. So when I moved into personal wealth management, helping people, the business owner mindset just made a lot of sense to me, because that's what we did. We built businesses and sold them and worked with other business owners. So it was a mindset that I enjoyed working with, which is where you guys come into play, because you are all self-employed. working for yourself, building a business, building a brand, and I like working with folks like that. So I've been working since 2008 in this industry, and then working specifically with real estate agents, I think since about 2012 or 13. I started working with more and realizing like what you guys want to learn about, need help with in the business. So it just became part of what I did. So in a nutshell, I basically help people from whatever point they're at figure out where they want to be and help them get there. Now you could say I could do all kinds of jobs within that explanation, but when it comes to finances, it's a very personal thing with everybody. And finances are a huge thing for me. It's for my wife and I, part of the education we do is we like to get couples on the same page with finance. It's the biggest fights in marriage, in relationships, in business. It all comes back to finances. So I like to make it as clear as what's the term? Well, so I don't know. No. But yeah, so I want to make it very simple, how to get from point A to point B. And some of the things that I'll be doing, because they want me to come back, I think.
So far, you're doing good. Yeah.
All right,
We're still
all
on.
right. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do June 2nd is go through retirement planning. What does that look like? Looking at where you're at right now, where you want to be, what are some of the tools that you guys have available to you being self-employed. Because there's a lot of different plans you guys can use, but what's the best plan for your situation? And it's really just an informational meeting. It's not you have to work with me. I'm just dispensing information to you guys to help you guys out because I've done it. So it's very easy for me to talk to real estate agents when it comes to this. So that one, and it'll be the importance of planning, the importance of starting now rather than waiting till next year or years from now. So I want to talk about time in the markets. And I won't spend a lot of time talking about the stock market unless you ask those questions. Honestly, in my client meetings, most of the time is spent on planning. People care about their own life. The markets are going to do what they're going to do. That's how I'm paid, by managing money, but most people don't want to talk about the nitty-gritty. I'm happy to answer those questions. And I thought you guys, when Dave was talking about the emotion or the feelings wheel, it could have been a group of advisors because our clients are all fearful right now because of what's happening in the stock market. So that was pretty interesting. I think our clients are all reacting the same way, just different industries. So that's June 2nd. We'll talk about what things you can be doing from a retirement plan standpoint, from an investment standpoint, tax advantages, things like that, and what it means, where you're at, and where you want to go. And then the next one, which is to be determined, it's going to be a joint meeting, and I bring my CPA in with me. And this one would be more of a tax planning meeting when it comes to like business structure, sole proprietorship, LLC, S Corp, C Corp, the whole shebang. Like, what does it mean to use these different types of structures? How do you best, I use him to back up the things that I say. So if I say, hey, use this plan, then Michael is really good at backing it up with the numbers because he's the one, and he specifically works with business owners. So that's why I like him. And he also talks about some really cool things in the tax code because he stays so up to date with it. He's always sending me information. So I'm up to date enough to be dangerous. And give you guys some ideas that you can be doing in your business that you might not be taking advantage of, when it comes to purchase of health insurance or using HSAs or hiring a spouse or like doing some different things to help your tax return. So that'll be coming down the patch at some point, probably June or July, I would assume, so. But yeah, so that's me in a nutshell. Yeah, you have any questions?
Are you with Discover Financial or?
Discovery, yeah,
That's
yeah, not the credit card.
Your boss is my client.
Oh, really?
Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
making
he knows this good.
Oh,
So
all
that's
right.
good. I thought it was Discovery, I just wanted to make sure. So,
Yeah.
great company, guys.
He wants to sell him another house.
Oh, I thought your name looked familiar because I've seen your name when I've gone in there before, so.
Okay,
That's good.
all right, well, hey, there we go. Nothing else.
We're excited to have you back.
All right, yeah, I'm
Excited to
looking
learn
forward
too.
to coming back, so.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Matt. I really appreciate it. Kudos to Brandon Faber, who is on Zoom. He put a bug in my ear about like the spouse planning thing for retirement and said, hey, that would be really nice to have some trainings or workshops to invite spouses into that conversation or significant others, whatever that means. And that kind of spurred this conversation with the leadership team, and Kayla was like, I know the perfect person. And we all know and trust Kayla. And so we are glad to have you here and just really appreciate the time that you're giving. Matt has quite a bit of experience with working with some of the agents at bigger brands outside of our office. And so he's got a lot of experience with real estate agents, and we're just happy to have you. So thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right, we'll spread the word to the rest of your fellow agents so we can get a good showing at those meetings. And because one of the most important thing for us is for you guys to build that long-term wealth, not only a long-term sustainable, profitable business, but build that long-term wealth for you and for your family. All right, we have just a couple more things that we will wrap up with. So closing out the loop from those things that we brought from the refine meeting was the 4 pillars of income. So many of you filled this out in the office meeting. If you click this, if you didn't, you still can. Just grab that QR code. 5 broker bucks, if you didn't do it already, comes to you if you fill out this simple form of just saying what your 4 pillars of income are going to be for your business. Oh, now I see the phones coming out. Now I see the phones coming out.
We like those brokers.
That's good. Yeah. Hey, this is a big offering. So, so use that. Everybody got time to get that. Really easy to fill out. Just should pull up a Google form. So try it really quick. See if it pulls up did it pull up the Google form for you? All right. Yeah. Well, I got a thumbs up from Will.
The same thing that's up there.
Okay, pull that up. Okay. Oh, let's try. Someone pull up the same thing? Well, you can print that form and send it. I'll send you the Google form too, if that didn't come up.
And who did they give it to the office admin?
Give it to your office admin and they will get you the 5 broker bucks. I'll send out a link as well. So hopefully this one works. On the phone with me.
Yeah, that brought up the same thing.
Okay. All right. We'll fill that one out because that's the one. And then I'll send you a link if you want to do it via Google form. All right. So in that meeting as well, talked about everyone, the number 1 pillar should be your sphere of influence. So 70% of agents' business for years, for decades, has come from their sphere of influence. And having a great plan for your database can produce amazing results. Statistics show us over years and years and years that about every 6 to 7 people you have in your database, it should translate to about 1 deal a year. If you're running a good program, staying in touch with them consistently. So here's what this form is. And again, I'm going to incentivize you. I'm going to incentivize 5 more broker bucks. This is a 10 broker buck opportunity. I don't know if I'm selling this enough for you guys, but this is a big deal. This one, Jeff, try to pull this one up for me once. Will, you can try to pull it up too. This should pull up a form, and it's really easy. Google form, all you do is you check the boxes, Shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes. It's gonna offer you a whole bunch of things that the brokerage offers for your sphere of influence program or your action plan for this pillar that are there for you guys to use. Click, yes, I'm using it. No, I'm not using it. I'm not interested. Or this is new, Steve. So this is new. This is new
the one I
today.
thought we talked about.
So-
Okay, I'm sorry.
Or no, I'm not using it, but I'm interested in more information so that we can have a staff member reach out to you, at least explain what it is, see if it's something that fits how you run your business. And then at the bottom, there's a whole bunch of other opportunities that maybe aren't necessarily a brokerage offering, but things that we could support you in or give you information to. If you just click, yes, I'm using it, no, I'm not, or yes, I'd like more information. Take it 5 minutes, $5 broker bucks, spend it at the auction at the end of the year. Sound good? Will's gonna be done before this meeting's over. And he'll get 10 broker bucks. And he'll be just for coming to the meeting. And I think you get one for attendance too. It's 11.
That's 11. So I just want to touch on something really quick that some people have brought up in meetings or just talking to me. This is a workman document here. Can I use that if I'm using Buffini or Tom Ferry or whoever else that I'm getting coached by or I'm learning from? The answer is yes. These things can be worked out with whatever you're doing. And it's not to discount Buffini, because those of you who are using Buffini, the sphere of influence is like a huge deal, right? Because we're dropping off pot buys. My business is a good mix of Buffini and Workman. And the reason being is I really like Workman's systems. I like that they have a back-end business building transaction tracker type thing, but I also like the customer service aspect that Buffini pushes. So please use this no matter what platform you feel that you are running your business on or want to move your business forward with, because this is still a good basis for your building your business and just having a good structure underneath whatever coaching platform they're using. So.
And if you don't have your phone with you, you probably all do, but the admins all have these as well, and we'll be hanging them up so you can grab a QR code of it later. And I'll make sure to update it. We'll send out the Google form for the 4 pillars, and we don't have to print safe paper.
And as far as the brokerage goes, we are tracking this. This is in a spreadsheet. Our staff all knows about it. They're all going to be aware of where your 4 pillars are. We're going to be following up with you to help you through building your business with these 4 pillars. So.
Any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to keep rolling so that we get you out of here on time, because I think we're getting close on time. Who's got a car? Okay, yep. Oh.
Wow.
I broke it.
That's my line.
That's your line?
Definitely ask me the copy machine.
Okay, here we go. We're back. We're back. Okay, and then if you're looking for ideas, who's got it done already? Just curious. Steve, Lindsay, okay, see, I told you to be fast. If you're looking for ideas for pillars 2, 3, and 4, scan this QR code really quick, and that's gonna take you to where we have all sorts of pre-made action plans already ready for you to just review, take a look at, see what fits for your business. Obviously, customize it, make it what fits your brand, what fits how you like to work with your clients, how you like to talk to clients. But this just offers a whole lot of options and exposes you to different ideas. Sorry, no broker bucks for scanning this. This one's just there. Okay, 2 final things and then we're done and you're out of here. You're back to selling real estate. ABC Leads Week. Christy, what you got?
So you probably have seen these. I'll hold them up here just real quick. In your office, this week is B week, so you don't see a B here. But it's just a reminder of who you should be reaching out. So we have these posted in every office by the printer or throughout the area. I have to tell you just a real quick story about it. I was up at our campground this weekend and I happened to be part of a conversation and a couple said, yeah, we this guy, Kevin Yoder, keeps calling us every month. He calls us every month. And he's consistent every single month. And she's like, we listed our house. He called 3 weeks ago. It's not even Kevin. And we listed it. And she said, I just wish they would communicate better. And my ears were like, and we don't know each other well, but to me it was like, so they're doing the calling every month consistently. They don't really know them. They don't have a relationship with them. And they decided they were the first agent. He called on the right day and they listed and they're selling a house. So the stuff does work. I know those phone calls are painful. Sometimes following up on leads don't seem like a lot of fun and you'd rather be out meeting people, but that agent of a listing just like that, and he's a poor communicator. She outright said poor communicator. And I know you guys are good communicators. Customer service, you guys stand above the rest. So just keep reaching out, keep doing what you need to do. But these are just friendly reminders of what week it is, so that you can look at that and say, yep, I should be doing this. You might want to set these events up on your calendar. So you just know this week is that, and then it's just rotating. So you always know on your calendar what week it is. So make those calls.
So they did list with Yoder?
Yep.
But then
So
they said it was a bad, he was
Yeah.
a bad communicator.
he's a bad communicator. She's like, we don't really know what's going on. All we know is that we're having 2 open houses this weekend and he told us to leave the house for the weekend if we could. And that my ears were like, because I'm newer in this industry, but I'm like, that call could have been any one of you. I don't personally know them that well, but I was like, oh, we need to sit by the fire and talk. Like, you're not getting the value of what you need to get. So just make those phone calls, keep in touch. It's important to keep in touch with people. You guys have a ton of value to add to these folks. You're educated, you're professionals, and you've got good information. So
I think that's
Where's your story? Did I have a minute?
no, yeah, go.
Your story of Kevin Yoder proves my point of how we only stay top of mind for a very short period of time,
Right.
even if we're a family member, even if we're best friends. I mean, I can sit here from sitting in my job, I can sit here and tell you horror stories of how best friends have gone off with competition. Mothers haven't sold with their children because they haven't been consistent in sharing and asking and letting people know that every single deal is important. Every single transaction that consistent touches is absolutely paramount.
Just a bad,
But in all honesty, like my parents actually, I think Leander's correct. My parents used me, but my dad gives me a hard time just joking around all the time. He's like, that Kevin Yoder, he's got lots of ads out there. I think I might hire Kevin Yoder because he hears his
Right.
name all the time. And my dad doesn't know Kevin Yoder, he's never met him, but he hears his ads all the time. And so Leander's correct, like that consistent saying.
Your dad knows the name.
That's what
right?
he
And
knows the name.
Everybody knows Jeff Glover because he has flipping billboards all over town.
Exactly.
And so, and if you haven't kept in touch in the last six weeks,
Where's my
they're gonna remember Jeff Glover, they're gonna remember Kevin Yoder, they're gonna remember that lady from Bella Bay that irritates me every night on the 6 o'clock news, because she comes on and tells me how good she is. And they're gonna remember. There you go, you know.
But you know what? Let's just think about that. They're doing something right? And it may irritate you that they're doing something right. And so how can you be that type of person,
Well-
type of mind person?
And it irritates us because we're in the business.
Exactly.
So then because I have a little problem with that myself, but then take your real estate hat off and say you're just a typical person. And you're like, oh yeah, well, I hear this person's name on the radio every single morning, Lucas Howard, I hear it every morning at 7:30. I gotta turn it down, so I'm like, I'm coming into work, I'm like, no. But that's the non-real estate person, that's what they hear.
it's a jingle.
Yep.
It's a jingle that I remember. But it doesn't have to always be like you're in the community, you're volunteering, you're
Right.
sharing, you're meeting people. It doesn't have to be that you're paying for a billboard or you're paying for an ad. It's just how you represent yourself, your business, and what you're doing. And you're following the core values and giving back and investing in relationships in the community.
And a billboard, sorry Dave, I'll shut up after this, but a billboard could even be a sticker on your phone. There's an agent in this business, in this office, who closed on a deal. She was buying produce in Forest Hills grocery store, talking on the phone, focused on her produce, not worried, she did not have a real estate agent hat on, and she had a Remax sticker on the back of her phone. And a lady followed her around until she was finished on the phone and said, "Are you a real estate agent?" Because of the sticker on the phone. She got a client and closed the deal. I mean, you
Yeah,
don't have to have a billboard, but you have to have something. Sitting in a coffee shop with a Remax sticker on your computer. People will ask you questions.
You can interrupt with stories like that anytime. You want. That's a fantastic story, and that leads right into the next thing we're gonna talk about. So this is if you want to participate, or we run a system that way, we just want to help with those reminders. It'll also be in the Monday message. We all know you run different things, but this is something that a lot of agents are doing, so we want to support that. So building off of what Leandra said, so nice segue, we're going to talk about, this is the final thing and we're out of here, but I want to go through this chart really quickly and discuss just a couple things. There's 3 big things that I take from this chart. So this is current data for this year. So number 1, I want to recognize all of you as the leaders, which is amazing. Highest average sales price. Also, that means you are earning the most per transaction, right? Which is another great thing, right? We need that money to support our businesses. So great work on all of that. And that's number 1. You guys are the leaders. Number 2, turns out, Leandra's story, brand does matter, right? I want you to take a look at the top 5 companies. So these are the top 10 companies in our market. I forgot to mention that, by size, by the amount of transactions, amount of sales volume that are up there. And then I just reorganize them up to average sale price. Top 5 by a significant amount. It starts to drop off after number 6. All major franchise brand names. This says something about what the public is choosing out there in the market. They are seeing something in these brands that says, hey, I want to work with them. They seem to be the experts. I want to go in that direction. So your brand does matter. And the reason why that's not important is number 3, with the challenges we're experiencing in the market, and as the market gets more and more challenging, people are going to run to quality agents, and they are going to run to the leaders. And so that's why, as we look at the changes in the market and the challenges, you guys are in the best position possible. The public's going to look for leaders in leadership, and you guys are in the leadership position. That's what I want to end on with a congratulations to all you guys. Oh,
To add to that, sorry.
no, there's more. There's 4 things. I was just kidding. Wait, there's more.
That was a really good ending, Dave. Thank you for saying that. But I just want to talk about the challenges in sharing in the success, sharing in the cost and sharing in the success of that cost. We have that as a core value. And I think that's what the big brands are doing, is they are distributing the money so that you guys have the tools and the expertise in order to have a higher quality business for your client at a lesser cost. If you had to buy the CRM that we have, or if you had to buy all the tools and the resources, the megaphone and the first app and all those things on your own, that would cost a whole lot more than distributing that across 120,000 agents across the country, right? And so that's what I think that all those brands do well, is helping you guys succeed by sharing in the cost of that success. And so just make sure that you know that that investment that you make, it matters, and especially matters when there's a shift, and it makes a difference for you to be an unshakable agent in this market. Thank you for being here. Thank you guys for all your hard work. We appreciate each and every one of you, and we're glad to be a part of your lives and your businesses. So.
We like you guys too.
We'll be around for a while. If you have any questions. Yeah, go ahead.
So I want to introduce you guys to the newest member of the Real Estate team, Damon. He's going to be taking his exam.
Yeah, I just left the jump solid. But it was a very informative meeting and I really appreciate it. So thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, Dan.
Well, we'll be around if people have questions, but thank you for coming and go get your broker.
Yes.
Quick for her, so yeah, you guys get.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Looking forward to your meetings coming up.
Yeah.
I'm also gonna go ahead and.
So you-
Yeah.
Good idea.
Oh,
Like foundation.
Yeah, yeah, we did. Yeah, very good lifting.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, lives.
Okay.
Just 5 years ago. we moved into-
Okay.